Sorrento is not an Amalfi Coast town, and I do not recommend staying there. I have been to every Amalfi Coast.
Okay, I'm going to clear some things up here. Nothing against this creator. I'm sure everything she's stating is based upon her experiences while she was staying in Positano. But there are some things that are not technically correct. And that's where I come in. And I know some of these things because I actually live here. Eccolo. So first thing she said is Sorrento is not a Amalfi Coast town and she doesn't recommend staying there. She's right. Sorrento is not an Amalfi Coast town, but you should stay there, especially if you're looking for a budget stay. I just picked a random day, which is May 17th to May 18th, of one night stay in Positano, and these are roughly the average prices you find on booking.com. So we have one that's roughly $622 a night, $1,300, $1,900 a night, and this is in May, which is not even peak season. But if you go over to Sorrento, you find much more affordable options. And she was saying transportation is not easy, which is correct. There's only one road that goes along the entire Amalfi Coast, and traffic is insane. And here you can see this one little gray road, and it's just traffic here is incredible, so just don't drive. But transportation is easy if you stay in Sorrento, because Sorrento is centralized between Naples, where you probably are arriving through airport or train station, and there's actually a train called Circumvesuviana that will take you from Naples to Sorrento, but that's where the train stops. And if you do want to go along the Amalfi Coast, there is a public transit called SITA buses, S-I-T-A, and they are kind of like Greyhound buses that will take you along the Amalfi Coast all the way down to Amalfi and Ravello. But those do get kind of messy and they do fill up pretty fast. So private transportation is probably best from Sorrento to Positano. And also too, there's so many ferries coming out of Sorrento to Capri, and then Sorrento to Naples, Ischia over there, or Sorrento to even Positano and Amalfi. Here's another thing. Ferries, she's correct. The transportation for ferries stop around 6 p.m. This is roughly in May. The last one gets back from Sorrento to Capri at 6 p.m. So ferries end early, but SITA buses don't. This is the schedule for the SITA bus. And this is off season. So this is from October until May-ish, where they change the schedule again. So the latest time is roughly 10:20, getting to 10:55. There's a 7 o'clock one that gets you to Amalfi at 8:40. There's even one from Sorrento to Positano, 9:40. There are options. And this is off season. During the peak season, there's even like a SITA bus that goes into like midnight. And don't get me wrong, Positano is beautiful. Like, look at this. But these are like all houses and villas and Airbnbs, and the roads are so small that cars can't even get down to the port. So in peak season, the roads, the walkable roads, actually look like this. It is just a mob scene. So it can get pretty suffocating in Positano. If you do want to stay as close as possible to Positano, I recommend staying in Praiano. It's much more affordable and like a throne's throw away. Now let's bring it back to the map here. So she was talking about boats, how like there's no other way, you can only get a boat from Positano. That is not true. And the hack to be able to see Positano, not only by car, is by boat. So what most people don't know, if you get a private boat, and maybe even some small group boats, which are more affordable, of course, you can actually get a boat from anywhere, from Capri, Sorrento, Praiano even, yeah, there's support. You can get a boat from anywhere to get to Positano. So for example, you stay in Sorrento, if you booked a private boat tour, that boat tour captain will pick you up at Sorrento at 10 a.m. and take you along the Amalfi Coast, even stopping at the Agali Islands, which are really cool islands to check out. And you usually even have time to get off at Amalfi, walk around Amalfi, get back on the boat. Then you go to Positano, get off at a Positano and walk around Positano at the port. And that's more than enough to see Positano. So you don't have to stay there if you can't afford it, and don't feel like you're missing out. In another video, she mentioned Music on the Rocks. It's a great nightclub in Positano, literally in the rocks. But that's like the only club in Positano. Like, Positano is really small. While Sorrento has Flu, Fano, Canca del Sogno, and even Maya Beach Experience, which is like a super cool night experience. And you get to see the sunset from there. That's another thing. The sunset's early in Positano because of the cliff. It blocks the view of the actual sunset, which you'll see perfectly from Sorrento. And Positano does have some great restaurants, but there are a lot of other great ones all along the Amalfi Coast and Sorrento. Like Don Alfonso 1890 is a 2 Michelin star restaurant, was named one of the best restaurants in all of Italy, and that's located in a little town right next to Sorrento called Sant'Agata sui Due Goffi. Il Buco, Michelin star restaurant in Sorrento. Ristorante L'Antica Trattoria, very famous restaurant in Sorrento. Bellevue Serene, and these are just some of the many that are available in Sorrento. And I barely scratched the surface of all the beautiful towns along the Amalfi Coast. There are so many beautiful spots. Positano is not just the only spot to stay, so don't worry. And just because you choose a hotel in one location doesn't mean you're going to stay there the entire time. You're going to be doing day trips. You're going to be visiting the sites. You're going to see Capri. You're going to see Positano. You're going to see Pompeii and Amalfi and the coast and do a farm tour and do a boat tour and do all these fun, exciting things. You're not just going to stay at your hotel unless you want to. Unless you stay in Positano because you're going to get your money's worth.